Greetings, all. Welcome to Vibes with the Archives. I am Vanna.
Hi, I'm Kymmy, and today's episode will be on divination types and how to detect when you resonate. Do you want to start with the opening of channels, Vanna?
Yeah, so when you are using any type of divination tool, you are basically putting yourself in as a conduit of the messages and the energy that are trying to come in all around you. And it's not just picking up tarot cards or picking up a pendulum and asking it a question. You have to consciously open this connection. And it's not always easy to do this, especially in the beginning, because you have to learn what the energy around you feels like. Like, if say you're in your room, like I am now. Oftentimes, before I do a proper reading, like for myself or for my mom, I have to cleanse the room because, dogs and people coming in, my brother verbally and energetically dumping his bad day in my sanctuary. A lot of that taints the energy. And if you start trying to make a connection with negative energy, there is a disruption of who exactly you're talking to. So, one thing that is so important when starting to open this channel is to cleanse. And you can do that with sound and bells. That's a new favorite of mine. You can do this with smoke through incense and sage and palo. You can do this through sounds of sound bowls and somatic musics. Or you could also physically clean your room up. That is one thing that has to happen often. But when you are working as a divination tool yourself, energetic hygiene is so important to practice. And I definitely feel like that's important to put right at the beginning here because that is not something that I learned until a couple months into using different divinatory practices.
You can also call in for protection from your guides, your higher self, most definitely, as because you won't always know what energies are coming towards you, especially if you're going into it without full intentions. If you were fully confused, instead of wanting to ask for confirmation purposes, I would take a moment to meditate and be mindful before you move forward as well, because if you go in confused, you're just going to confuse the cards, because it is mirroring back the energies of what is going. Like, it's not a prediction and nothing is set in stone. If you're moving along, you can change at any point with you can pivot to a different path because you have free will. So, as much as you take the cards as what they are for confirmation, remember your life is still subject to change as you take new action, and you can move away from those energies at any time too. So, if you're confused at the moment, don't be confusing your deck. It is an entity. It doesn't like to be like you coming in and be like, I don't know if I want peach cobbler or lemon meringue. It's like, I don't, well, I know you want pie, and it'll just show you you want pie, and it's like, thanks, cards, but like, which one? It's like you didn't ask the questions. So be very intentional with the questions that you're asking when using divination tools. And yeah, so go ahead, Vanna.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like one thing that I had to learn was like with pendulums. Basically a pendulum is anything weighted on the end of a string or chain. Oftentimes, at least in my case, pendulums are crystals that have been carved into a point. But you could also use like a family heirloom of a ring, or I've done this several times, my necklaces. Like I used to wear like four necklaces that had different charms and tokens and things on them. And like when I needed a confirmation or something, like when I was out and I didn't have one of my crystal pendulums, I would take off a necklace and I would hold it up and I would ask it yes or no. The pendulums and dowsing rods, you have to ask them what their messages mean because, like with the dowsing rods, the copper rods that you hold in your hands, they'll swing one way crossing over each other for yes, and another way opening up for no, or vice versa, especially with pendulums. For myself and my mom, when I'm holding up a pendulum and I'm asking for a yes, it swings side to side, and a no is a back and forth motion. But with my brother and sister in law, it was the exact opposite. So when you're first starting to open that communication channel, you first need to connect and communicate with your divinatory device, whether
Right.
that is the cards that you're using, the pendulums, charms or runes, or even just like if you're doing like free writing or scripting, talk to your book because that is part of your practice, that is part of your tools, and it itself has an energy. It itself has, in a sense, a soul, and it must be respected for your message to come across clearly. Because if you are not respecting or you're disregarding the tool itself, or like you were saying, with being distracted or confused, you can manipulate the reading. And it's so easy to do with things that just give you a yes or no answer, like
Oh
pendulums
yeah.
and dowsing rods. I can
Biased opinions.
biased ass opinions. I cannot tell you how many times I knew after the fact that I was manipulating the pendulums because I wanted a certain answer, or I was expecting something to happen. Like I would see in my mind's eye it moving a certain way, and it wasn't the same way that it comes in when it's like a message or a download.
Oh
it was literally like me looking at it in my mind's eye, swinging yes when I wanted a confirmation of something, and then my pendulum started moving exactly in that direction. And I don't know how it is for other people, but like when I start channeling, I feel that ring around my crown start buzzing. If I've gone through and I've connected to each of my chakras, I'll feel that pillar up my spinal column. But the biggest thing will be the energy running down my arm and into my hand. I will feel it buzzing, going straight down my bone. I actually feel it a little bit now because I'm talking about it and acknowledging it. Like up my middle and my index finger and my thumb, the ones that mainly channel my energy, there is a buzzing going through it right now. That's really fucking cool.
You can get confirmation through other ways. I know when I was starting out, when you're not really at the point of opening your third eye, and you're working from the lower chakras. Um, you can definitely
Yes.
feel a tingle in the lower of your back in different parts of the chakras as they go up before you reach that point where you'll probably get more of confirmations from dark feminines, dark masculines that you need to work with to reach the levels where you will feel spirit and you will be able to feel your halo. I was also going to state that it is important, and when you're going through with this, that if you're not sure it's your energy or not, you can set up a secret password that you state in your head, and you get um, your guides or your higher self so that your ego isn't hijacking the reading. You can set up a certain password that they would have to say again and again. Like if you go, Archangel Michael, is that you? Of the highest white light, and he'll say yes, and you say that 3 times in a row, or however many times, or whatever your secret password is, to confirm that's who you're talking to. Like you're at your secret dugout or your tree house and you have a secret password. Well, the same thing with your temple when people are coming into your space, into your body, when you're channeling, you use your intuition. Even you don't have to channel or what it invoke anything. You don't have to do that. You there's certainly um happy just to talk to you via intuition, and as well as for the fact that we are crystals, we are crystalline beings. You can ask yourself, if you don't have a pendulum, if you didn't happen to wear a necklace that day, if you aren't um, was sitting within your gifts to feel the tingles and trust your intuition yet to that point, and you use the secret password, you can use yourself as a pendulum. If you plant your feet on the floor, stand up, and you trust and release and ask a question with intention, depending also, like Vanna said, what you want to set up for yourself, because it is your joystick. You get to decide what controller combo you have set up for yourself if you feel comfortable. But for myself, when I ask a question, if it's a yes, I will ask spirit and my guides to gently, or if I really need confirmation, I'm like, I'm gonna need extra a big, nudge on this one. They'll push me a bit forward and lean back. Like this could, and like even some people could say for it being like, um, that you can manipulate that as well because it's your body and you could sway back and forth, but like be intentional. Like if you need a question that time, you could be like, push me left, spirit, if I am meant to be receiving this gift, because left is receiving energies, divine feminine. Like, am I supposed to be in my feminine, or am I supposed to be in my masculine right now? Am I supposed to be about action, or am I supposed to be about receiving? Push me in that direction while you're standing up. And it's given me a lot of answers. My partner actually will watch me sometimes if I need that little intuitive push. And he's like, "What are you asking right now?" Because he'll see me leaning to a certain direction. I'm like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, I'm just thinking about this." And it's, you can ask it anything. You'd be like, "Yo, do you think this spice would be really good in this food I'm making?" Because, not everyone has someone to talk to, and spirit loves it when you talk to them. So, and your guides and your ancestors, of course, not all ancestors are for your highest good, which is why I am stating the password, because you can call on your ancestors, but some of them are pretty whack. So I understand why,
I
not a lot
feel
of
that. That is
not a lot of you would.
fascinating. I have never heard of being a human pendulum. I'm gonna have to try that. That is
Yeah, we're
fascinating.
it's because we're crystalline. We are crystal. We are
No,
made
believe
of
it.
crystal.
We are
So
divine best beings in a fleshy meat sack.
yeah, so we are the crystals. So that's what we don't need. That's why, like, when I say crystals, when we use them, we don't technically need them. They are extension of us. But
Yeah.
technically, we are the little crystal at the top of the magical wand of the magician. We are that. We're the stars. That's why we're the star beings, is because crystalline. But I'm getting ahead of myself a couple of episodes. But yes, we are the pendulums. Um, and like, if you feel at some point where you just want to feel safe, you can get some crystals and put them around your room in a circle and sit inside and just meditate and just ask to be taken, because I didn't know anything about this much of rituals and stuff like that when I was younger. And I just talked to the moon. I was going through a court case, and I was being isolated from the rest of the town in Newfoundland. And I talked to the moon, and I asked, and I made my first incantation, I guess, when I was like 13, because I didn't realize what I was doing, but I asked the moon. Um, Actually, I guess I did. I had only read books, but I took it seriously enough because I needed help, and I was like, make them see to make them see it just over and over because I just wanted them to see the truth. And I was like, I don't care what happens. I just want them to see the truth. And I asked the moon to make the truth come happen. And it came true. They saw the truth and I won the court case. So, yeah, ask the moon, ask the elements around you. You are all the elements. You are the four elements. You have breath, you have fire in your belly, and you have water in your eyes. And
You
you
are
have
Earth
earth
itself.
and root. You are rooted in yourself. So remember to use yourself as you have all the tools. That's why they tell you you are equipped with all the tools.
You are
Um,
equipped with all the tools. One thing that I wanted to say as a bit of a caution is that you can very easily use up your own energy when working as a divinatory tool or with divinatory tools. I
oh
remember
yeah.
the first
Hmm.
time I ever used a pendulum. So a bit of backstory. My mom's old laptop was like it was several years old at this point. It took forever to start up. And it was sitting on her desk in her office, and we were just hanging out, doing our thing at the end of the day. And it not only turned itself on, but loaded her favorite game, which would normally take about 15 minutes to do. It did it by itself. So, this was how Spirit was starting to communicate with us that they wanted to talk to us. This was like,
And wanted you to relax and have fun more, it seems too.
oh, absolutely. This was like 2018 when this happened. So, about 2 years into me taking my spirituality a lot more seriously and doing work to cleanse chakras. I'll circle back on that later. But we had already started collecting these things and we didn't really know why. But Mama picked up her pendulum off of her altarpiece and we walked over to the computer and we started talking to it. And we quickly realized that it was my grandfather on my mom's side, uh, who had passed when she was only in about eighth grade, and she didn't even know because family drama with all that.
Yeah.
But when I picked up the pendulum and I started asking it like yes or no questions, I was getting so excited. And when I put it down, I literally almost passed out. Like it was one of those slow motion scenes in an anime where like the character just like drops. That
Oh yeah,
literally,
used up all their chakra and now they're asleep. Oh,
that
oh no.
that literally happened to me. Like I almost passed out because I was only using my own energy. I did not know how to tap into, or that I even could tap into the ambient energy around me. So when I started working with chakras and pendulums and more divinatory devices, I had to take a moment and pause and physically open up those channels. It's a lot easier for me to do now, but then I had to verbalize it and say like I am welcoming in the ambient energy around me. Oh wow, I felt the shudder because even now saying it, I am still affirming that. That feels really nice.
You affirmed it for yourself back in the past too, so you've just resonated with the time frequency.
Yeah, and it is so important to draw in from the energy around you because if not, you will use all of your energy and deplete yourself. And if you've seen magic in fantasy stories and books and stuff, what happens when you use too much of your power?
Oh yes, it depletes you and it takes a certain toll on you as well,
Hmm.
especially with like when you're doing astral projection and lucid dreaming as well. When you travel like that, you can deplete yourself too. So remember to take naps and stuff like that.
Yes, please, please, please listen to your body. If your body is telling you you need to rest, it's not depression, it's not laziness. Please listen to yourself.
And sometimes you don't even remember because it's something that you're going to learn, and sometimes you need that bit of surprise so that you can do it properly, or you're just not at that state where your human body is ready to accept that information that's so high vibrational. So they take that away. So sometimes you don't even realize you were being a badass and like hanging out with all these other higher realm entities because you're like, oh, I didn't dream last night. Why am I so tired? And it's like from Dragon Ball Z when Goku does the spirit bomb and he pulls in all that energy to help himself so that he becomes stronger. It's just allowing spirit to to lay magic on you. Lay it on me, spirit.
Fucking Mamma Mia. Lay all your love
Yeah.
on
I know
me.
I did. I thought about it too. But that
I
is your
love being
expression of
clairsentient. It is so fucking fun.
love.
That's another episode.
Yeah, I do have the Claires down there. Um,
Yeah,
we
I
have
gotta do like a little translation for some of them.
true, true. I do know most of them there, so I will be able to guide through. But that's another episode. Ringing in ears, so like physical reactions that you can have to it besides tingles, you can have ringing in the ears. Since we were talking about clairaudience,
Yeah,
you can
the
get messages that way as well with tingles in the ear. Um, that's spirit talking to you, and sometimes they talk to you in that like higher frequencies instead of
yeah,
voices.
absolutely.
You
I
can ask
actually
them
had
to tone it
something.
down. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I actually had something last night. So I don't often experience the ear pitches myself, only in like really special moments. I was getting a reading from someone that had massive Hera energy. Like she was the matron that was delivering that channeled message, and like it only recently connected with me how deeply connected I am to the Greek pantheon, but also Hera has specifically been involved in my team. And when the reader said, "You are a diamond in the rough," my ear started pitching so much. And I've associated with the ear pitching as like you are accelerating into a higher vibration, a higher, more divine vibration. And it makes it so much easier for them to speak to and through you. And what you have to understand is that spirit is your equal. Ugh, confirmation burp.
They're,
Spirit
they're
is
just
your equal. They want to be your friend and they want you to talk to them as a friend. But so often we put ourselves in this lower place and see them on this pedestal, and we do so much to learn from them. And that is good, especially in the beginning. You don't want to go and be like, all right, bitches, this is what I want you to do. You're going to incur the wrath of the dark feminine. And Lilith is not one to fuck over. Like, you don't, one does not
a lot
simply
of them don't
approach
like it.
Lilith.
That's actually all of them. Like the
No,
ones who are supposed to be kind won't put up with it either. Like
not,
Oshun will just pull away.
oh,
Like they'll just you'll be more. There's no sunshine when you're gone. Yeah, it's gonna be you, and it's not gonna be a good thing. So like approach everyone with respect because nobody likes an asshole. Okay, especially if you're asking for advice and they give you advice and you don't listen, like they're gonna
yeah,
pull away. You're not gonna be impressed because no one likes an asshole. Okay, don't ask and then do the opposite. Why'd you bother asking? Why wasting time?
yeah, just because
Like
it didn't give you,
they don't talk to just anyone. They
yeah,
talking to people who are gonna talk them back to them and listen. They ain't gonna waste their time for people who are stuck in cycles.
yeah, that's a huge thing. It's like you have to be able to listen and then do the work that they are asking you to do.
It's like a lot of with the like Norse mythology and stuff like that. When you pray to them, they don't want to see you on their knees. They're gonna tell you get off your knees and do the work. We have laid out the path for you. Godspeed. Or Ruha. Good luck to you.
Yeah, those physical reactions of like when I'm channeling something, like I'll feel in my chakra points, like my lower chakras of my root, sacral, and solar, when something is associated there, like if I'm doing a reading and there's a lot of insecurities, I'll feel stirring and energy in my root and sacral chakra, the seat of your safety, security, and your sense of safety and security. And so many of us have had damaged root chakras. And I cannot stress how important it is to do your your tutorial when it comes to your chakra work. Please, please, please do not go straight to trying to open your third eye, because that is exactly what I did when I was 16. I went straight into doing third eye guided meditations and like lucid dreaming, astral projection. And I gave myself the worst headaches, the worst migraines, and the scariest nightmares, because I was basically trying to build that penthouse on stilts and loose cobblestone, because I had so much trauma and things in my root, in my sacral, in my solar. My heart chakra has been the one that has been the most blocked, the chakra that I feel the least. Thank the gods that I have been connecting and healing it more so much in the past couple of years. But like your
And
heart chakra bridges the lower chakras that make up your sense of self, and the higher chakras that make up your sense of spirit. And so you have to do that work to go through that trauma and all that pain. And I can say that having these different divinatory types between the cards, the pendulums, the dowsing rods, charms, runes, and scripting or free writing, I have found so much relief, comfort, support, and acknowledgement. And not only what I have overcome, but the challenges that I have won. And it is incredibly confirming and affirming to have those in many different forms. Like, one of my favorite things is when I'm doing a personal reading or one of the readings for my channel, and I have like 5 different decks and the charms that are all saying the same message. Like, the message is the message. It is what it is. And it feels so good to have that level of connection and clarity. And the thing is, every single person has the ability to do this. Every person has the ability to tap into the spiritual Wi Fi, as I call it. But you've not given yourself the password. And that's why I found it so interesting that you were already saying something about a password and like a confirmation, a gateway. Just like you
yep.
have to give yourself permission to work with these things and work with these energies that want to work with you.
There's also like with the divination types, I wanted to let you all know that there is over 100 different types. So if yours don't feel called or resonate with the ones that we personally talked about and have had experience with, then go online and Google up divination types, and you can
Absolutely.
totally find one that resonates for you. Try them on. And you don't many hats, one person, get a coat rack. You can do whatever you want with them. Which leads me to like how I found that list was because I had a um I was lucid well I was astral traveling and went back in time for with the Akashic records to a past life or parallel life, I want to state, because time is happening all at the same time. um I had a dream where I was one of the ancient Greek muses and was doing poem divination, which was an
Ooh.
ancient style that they used, and it's called rhapsodomancy. And was having a dream about it. I didn't know what it was called at the time. I had no concept of it. They were showing me that I was doing it in a past life. And then at the end of it, it switched and it showed me on my channel doing it with my modern day poems. And yeah, it's called rhapsodomancy. So I was looking it up and I was like, no way, I just created something. And I woke up, I wrote it down, I went online, and I Googled divination types, and I literally scrolled through, and I was like, there's too many here. I was like, let's try again. I was like, poem divination, and it came up, and it was using ancient scriptures of poems to give prophecies at the towers, at their temples, where Delphine and everyone was giving their prophecies was through poem divinations. And yeah, so like you never know. So ask spirit, what am I supposed to be doing? How am I to receive you best? What way would we communicate best? Some people communicate through gifts. Some people communicate through letters still, you know? Some people communicate with using emojis only. Some people use slang, some people use old English. It doesn't matter what way, as long as the message gets across to you and you can understand and move forward in action and feel confirmed with your choices, and then that's what's meant for you. Um, but yeah, if you want to go into it, at the end of it here, I was going to, since you pulled a card last time, I actually have my poem here that I sent to you that one time that I feel like it would be nice to read it off as like a Rhapsodomancy shout out
Oh,
after we're
absolutely,
finished.
mate. Go for it.
Right. Um, doo doo doo. It's called Kiss of Life. I wandered through the forest, and they were proud of your growth. I gazed upon the stars, and they twinkled in admiration of how brightly you shine. I traveled to the I traveled to the oceans, and they marveled at your depths. I danced with the winds, and they whispered how you take its breath away. I turned my face to the sun, and he praised the warmth of your very core. I, I conversed with the moon, and she basked in the divine nature of all your phases. I asked the earth its secrets, and it replied, I just want to watch you live. And I feel like that's what spirit wants you to do, is it just wants to watch you live. That's the whole point of this, right? Is for source to see many different ways of living all at once.
That
And
that is absolutely something I agree with. Something that like when it when you get down to like really philosophical and you ask like, "Oh, what's the point of life?" It's to live. It's to
yeah,
live in what resonates with you, and like having that awareness of what resonates with you takes a lot of self-knowledge, and people don't know themselves outside of what they have been told that they
God bless
are.
nature.
But you can only meet someone as deeply as you've met yourself. And that's why so many people have shallow or superficial relationships and they're just like, they changed one day. It's just like, but did you ever really know them? I mean, yeah, absolutely. I could agree. And I could see where like someone's internal struggle suddenly explodes and they have to make this sudden shift. I'm sure I have been that person in other people's lives. I'm having an instance come up in so at the end of 2020, I left my best friend of 7 years because she was very toxic and controlling over my life. I met her when I was in middle school here in South Carolina when I lived here the first time. When I moved to Illinois halfway through high school, and even when I was in South Carolina, I had to be her personal therapist and escape. Every single day and every single night, we had to write this story. I mean, I was in it too. I needed that escape. But she desperately needed this from me, and it became my entire life. And as I was going through my awakening, as I was going through this journey of processing trauma and realizing who I am, realizing who I deserve, I realized that I could not move forward anymore while I had her in my circle because she was trapping me in that old energy. Like even when I changed my account from like Vanna Henderson to Soulshine, which was the name of my account beforehand, she was just like, I feel like you're pulling away from me. And I'm like, no, 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 that's not it. I feel like I wanted to do this. But I, for years, thought to try to bring her along on this journey with me. But because she made herself such a victim of her circumstances, she wasn't ever going to do that work that it took to level up in that way. And I'm sure I looked like the monster to her. I looked like an asshole to her or to her friends or to our friends or whoever she told. But at the end of the day,
That's
I had to
like
do what made
you're
me happy, and I could not be happy when I was trapped in that relationship.
of course not. You can't live for others. And not everyone is their time around to level up. Like unfortunately, like some tools are newer and they came through to encourage us and they play their parts very well and we have to accept that for what it is. You know, you get the script, you can flip the script, sure. You can pull yourself onto a parallel timeline and quantum shift. But the truth is, you can't choose for their soul, but you can choose for your soul and you can choose better for yourself. And I'm proud of you for choosing better for yourself and choosing not to live for others anymore and choosing to live for yourself. Because if, you know, if you're not changing anything, then you're making a choice. And I'm glad that you know you learned to make better choices. Heck, I'm glad I learned to make better choices too. I had an incident where at my partner's show on the weekend, I had someone pop back up. Actually, I have this happen. A lot of water signs have this happen where um, people will pop back up in your life.
Actually,
Ex-friends
yeah.
and stuff like that. Ex-friends and stuff like that. But I called them zombies before I knew what it was. But like,
Man.
yeah, I call them zombies because they come back. I'm like, whoa, bro, I thought you were dead. I mourned you. Uh, like energetically, you were dead to
No,
me,
I
and
get that. I
I
get it.
mourned you.
No.
Like
It's funny because
I
it's
was like, oh,
paralleling
listen,
something that just happened in my mom's life. But go on with
maybe
the energy vampire and zombie.
yes. Yeah. No, the energy vampire. Yeah, what you described is an energy vampire, and
Oh,
mine
she
is not.
absolutely was.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely. I'm
even in the
like that.
story we wrote, in the part of the story that like we were fantasy creatures, she was the vampire princess.
Well, see, now that makes me sad because I'm my persona for my music is vampire, but like
That's There are different types of vampires, my love.
I know.
Like in my
I just want to make sure that the audience is aware too. But yes, energetic vampires very much just they want to they get that satisfaction out um of not doing better. Like you could give them the tools forever and they will break the tools and then blame you for not wanting to do it again.
That sounds like a lot of people that have been removed from my life. Thank you, Spirit, for removing them. And
Yes,
like those people so very much can like mess with these types of divinations. Like, um,
yeah, if they're sending you evil eye and they don't want good for you, and you're not aware of your energy versus theirs, you can definitely pick up on their energy and bring it
absolutely.
into your readings. And like when
Especially
you're out
for
on,
water signs and empaths that so naturally pick up on other people's energy, you have to do so much work to discern what is your energy and what is not your energy. Like, if you're doing a reading, I've had this happen. If you're doing a reading and the person you're reading for doesn't like the answers that you're giving them, the cards will just shut the fuck down. The cards
nope,
will be
I
like,
do.
no, like, you're not hearing me. You're not respecting me. I'm not wasting my time.
See, I'll usually feel it. I'll call them out. I'm usually a little bit of a brat about it. I'm like, you don't like that. Well, too bad. You know, if you don't want like hearing what you got it, then maybe if you're not even willing um to even think about it for a second, it probably applies to you. And if you're grumpy about it, wear the shoe where it fits. You know,
Yeah.
like if there's something going on and they're talking about like, talking about how you have been pushing people away or sitting in your imposter syndrome, and you're like, well, I don't have imposter syndrome. That's vibrational. We should be talking about love and light only.
It's
And
the
I'm like,
biggest
I'll do
bullshit
that.
ever.
I'm like, no. And I'm like, no. So it takes a while, but once you get to know your energy, you can shut it down. You'll know where it's coming from and what place it's coming from. Like Vanna was saying, like from the lower chakras, it will give you indications. I'll notice when people are being frustrated and they're afraid of the answer too.
Hmm.
I'll notice when the people who are getting the reading are nervous about my answers, and they're stubborn, and the deck will get stubborn energy, and I'm like, yeah, you guys can be stubborn all you want, but I'm still shuffling these cards and giving you the answer.
A big one
And
is like if you're like a non-believer and you're coming to this, like, no, you have to respect. Like, I'm remembering the cab psychic. Have you seen those videos? Like, he's a cab driver, but he's also a medium, and he
I've
all the
seen that.
time, I love this guy. He'll all the time get like these incredible messages from people on the other side. One gentleman, he had a priest. He had a preacher in his car. And the priest was just like, no, I don't want to hear about any of that. I don't want to hear about any of that because the medium was channeling the priest's deceased wife. And the priest started asking, like, am I doing well with our daughters? Am I doing the right thing by them? And so the medium started talking because he asked a question. And
Yep.
the priest was just like, no, I don't want to hear about that. And like you're doing too much or you're lying. And the medium was just like, okay. But the priest kept trying to push, and like you can't just expect it. Like you have to have respect for the reader, the cards, and the energies that you are working with. Like you
Yeah,
can't
don't be
just go
treating
in.
them like magic 8 balls. You can't just shake it and be like, "Give me an answer."
No, it's like when Jesus returned to his homeland and the people only knew him as a carpenter, he could no longer heal people. He could no longer turn water into wine because the people did not believe in him. Therefore, that magic could not happen for them. Like
Yeah,
Jesus, Yeshua himself was still able to do it, but he wasn't able to do it for them because they did not
they
believe
didn't
in
accept
him.
it. You have to accept it. Like they didn't accept it, and that's their free will. And he won't override their free will, and
Spirit will
neither will
never
spirit.
override your free
And
will.
that's how you know when you're talking to spirit versus when you're talking to something that wants to do unwell on you. Spirit will talk love through you.
Hmm.
Will it be tough love sometimes? Hell
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Girl, do you know
But
how
will it
many
be
times I have been
straight
called
up?
out by cards?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, oh, honey, you gonna learn today. I was like, but I bought nice cards that are supposed to be easy on you. Yeah, well, you should have got oracles. But yeah, you can definitely tell it'll be tough love, but that's still gonna be love,
It's
not
still divine
degrading,
love.
not fear mongering you.
Oh, absolutely not. It's like, that's one thing. It's just like, if it feels like anxiety, it is not spirit. Anxiety and intuition warnings, while they may feel similar, I know I get this all the time. Like, I have to discern whether
It's
this feeling in
butterflies,
my
it's a
gut.
warning.
Hmm.
If it's tingles, it's on par. That's all I've got.
I have to discern where in my solar that it is coming from, because like your intuition and those instincts and those messages, they come directly to your solar, because not only is it the seat of your identity, it is the closest connection that you have to your divine self. And I'm remembering something that I learned recently about the god Apollo, and how your solar plexus, of course, solar being like your sun. Apollo is one of the only gods who cannot lie. He brings so much illumination, he physically cannot lie. And so Apollo is one of the masculines that I feel very close to. He's very close in my circle and who I call on, especially now holding a citrine in my hand, being like Sunshine Stone itself. Um, when you have that certain feeling and you learn those differences, you're gonna just know instantaneously that it is your intuition, and you have to listen to it, my love. I cannot tell you how many times these pushes, these tugs, these sensations, these odd thoughts that aren't normal for the situation, aren't logical for the situation, absolutely help me. The most obvious story I have is one time I was door dashing and my exit that I needed to take was two ahead of me. But I had this massive pull to take the one that I was approaching. And as I got off, the truck in front of me lost some of the glass and metal that it was carrying, and it dropped and shattered in the middle of the road. And had I stuck on my path where my GPS was telling me, I would have been directly behind that accident. And had I not
That's
listened to my
crazy.
intuition,
Oh my goodness. I'm happy you're okay.
oh yeah, this was like 2 years ago.
I mean, regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless. Regardless. You almost got Final Destination, bro. And
Oh,
regardless.
girl, at least like once a month, something like that happens. Like just yesterday, going to drive my brother to work, as soon as I got onto like the main highway, I was seeing big trucks, oversized loads, construction trucks, flashing lights. I'm like, okay, I gotta be careful. The entire way there, there were people that did not pick a lane, and only half of them used turn signals. And then actually getting into the city proper, there was an accident right in front of my brother's job. That if I had been lackadaisical or not really paying attention, I could have been another accident in that. So
Mm,
when you're starting to get those intuition and those tugs, the biggest thing is you learning to trust yourself that you're not crazy. You're not
yes.
being paranoid.
Oh, absolutely. And a good way to do that is like asking spirit for signs and confirmations. And some of my favorite
Absolutely.
ones through when I'm out driving, there'll be license plates or like trucks that will go by with a certain name and like confirming things for you.
That was
And
one
you
of
can
them.
like,
That
yeah,
was one of them. There was a truck that said like Rudy's Gravel. That was my grandfather's name. On my
see,
dad's side was Rudy.
there
And
you
I'm
go.
like, holy shit. Thank you, Grandpa, for watching over me.
There we go. See, like you can notice that your guides and spirits are looking out for you within you ask for extra confirmation. I know we're gonna go more into numerology in depth, but like you can ask for sequence
Ooh.
of numbers. I know
Yeah,
we're going into it another day, but it's worth mentioning now to in order to that is a type of divination. I also like when you well, since we used affirmations last episode and to combine with divination, you can ask um when you are driving, you can talk about um what you want from that car ride while you're
absolutely.
going. You can be like, when I reach my destination, I'm going to let go of this feeling. When I reach my destination, I'm going to be on this timeline where where I'm going to have the greatest day ever. And regardless, you can always have another great day later. Don't worry about it. Um, but
Yeah,
still, you can claim that for yourself as you're going through or saying that you arrived there safe. Well, the same thing you can do with divination tools when you're going to go find them. You can ask spirit, like, if I'm meant to have a deck, or if I'm supposed to learn this information, can you bring this to me? And one time I wanted to learn more stuff at my apartments, and inside of the laundry room, there was just a big stack of different mythologies and astrology stuff that was stacked there. And it stayed there for like 2 weeks and no one grabbed them. And I'm like, well, I guess those are mine.
I love that. I have had those moments exactly. But absolutely, if you need a super specific sign, just ask for it. Like, I want to see a green rabbit. And it could
Right?
be a decal on someone's car, it could be on a hoodie, it could just come across your feed. But recognizing the confirmations is going to continue to bring them about.
Oh,
Recognizing and acknowledging how spirit speaks to you will continue to bring those about.
it's building your algorithm, right? Just like online. When Spirit will build your algorithm too, like so you can build your online
Oh,
algorithm
absolutely.
to
Spirit
ask
talks through
someone
my
to
algorithm. They talk through my Spotify.
absolutely. Oh, that's what I was about to bring up actually, like verbatim. I was gonna be like, you can do the divination through asking, "Hey, spirit, I'm going through this. What do I do? I'm going to shuffle 15 times. Give me a message." Or I'm gonna shuffle 3 times. You can decide what seven's your lucky number. Who
Oh, yeah, I do that
it's
all the
whatever
time.
up to you. And then
Like,
you make the rules. You set the parameters. Remember that you are in charge of how much you divinate and how little you divinate. But remember to always like you can cleanse your hands after. Make sure you have like a like salt shower if you want, or like if your hands are feeling like with what happened to Vanna, if you even if you do pull in the energy like a spirit bomb, you may notice that you still feel like their energies that you connected with are pulling on your energies because sometimes when you do divinations for others, they're not at the same frequency that you are, and you can get a bit of tugs with your energy. You can call back your energy and then send their energies back to them, but through just intention and stating so. You don't have to say it out loud. But you can also do like salts on your hands and water and cleanse your hands that way. I have a witch broom kyanite, which doesn't need to be cleansed. It is a type of crystal where it literally does not absorb energies, so you can use that to run over top of your hands. It's like in Star Trek almost, where they like have the like scanning of the bodies and stuff like that. You can get data to clear your data, you know?
I just had a prick in
Hopefully.
my back.
Oh no.
No, it's one of the spirit things. Like,
Oh, I thought
I'll
you
get
said
like,
drink in the back.
no,
I
like a
thought you said,
prick.
oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I've just gotten used to like random sensations and stuff. Like, one time when I was channeling my grandmother, we didn't have a good connection with her at the time. I felt like that, you know how like someone will wrap their arm around you and they'll like squeeze your arm a little bit?
Yeah,
I had that over my right arm, which is my main channeling arm. It's covered in moles. And
yeah.
it was squeezing so hard it physically hurt me. Like there was a red mark on it. And
Oh, yeah. You
that was from my grandmother on my mom's side, who at the time we did not have a good connection with. But this
can.
actually began a lot of the healing. And like in that time, I sent her away because I was not welcoming of her energy. But through my mom's healing and the forgiveness that she has given my grandmother, I have been able to forgive my grandmother. And she is now one of the biggest contributors to my spirit team.
I love that. That's see, that's also a thing too, is like did say earlier that not all ancestors are for you, and not all of them will change, but as you do, I was saying in the reading that I did today actually, um, as you clear your DNA and your like cosmic DNA, you are cleansing not only yourself, you're cleansing also your descendants and your ancestors' timeline so that they can forgive and are learning from you as well on the other side. We are masters in their eyes for coming here. It's not an easy mission coming to Earth.
It is not an easy mission to be a human being. It really isn't. And being a generational curse breaker is a difficult role. Like,
Yeah, not everyone steps up to the plate, which is why it can be
It's
frustrating. You're
fucking
like,
hard.
why is no one else doing it? It's like, not because some people see that script and they have to wait through generations and generations to see someone who's willing to stand up and go up to that quest board and be like, you want to know what? This is a level 3 quest and I'm gonna do it. I'll do it for our clan. I'll do it.
And that is exactly like something my mom and I have discussed very heavily. Like, I chose to be beside her again. We have been beside each other in many different lifetimes. And I chose to be beside her, and she chose to be beside me in this lifetime. And it is because she had to go through so much to know what kind of parent she did not want to be, what kind of person she did not want to be. And she raised my brothers and I very differently. And I mean, everyone is on their own road, but I can only speak from my own experience. I have broken down more generational curses, barriers, blockages, and karmas in my 24 years than my ancestors had the capacity to do. And this wasn't because they weren't strong enough. They they weren't connected enough. They didn't let themselves have that connection. They sold the land that they had. They moved to the cities. They forgot who they were as souls, as beings. And it's, I believe, part of my mission to bring us back to that point of having land, working with the mother, working with her, and raising our children to see love and magic and light as evident as day and night. Ooh, that was a beautiful fucking affirmation. I love it when that
See?
shit happens randomly. Like, look at me, I'm channeling right now. My throat chakra was buzzing that entire time.
Speakers and megaphones on blast.
For real, though.
But yeah, that's what you're meant to do, and everyone has a different story. I did a lot of it so that my siblings didn't have to go away, because I've seen them being treated a lot differently. Like, I'm not saying like they did a 360 and they're 100% better, but I could see the changes on how they treated everyone differently because of the love that I gave to them and the love that I showed around and showed that standing up to the people in the family is worthwhile. Like, when I was going through it with my ex, who was very, and uh, a lot of things and abusive in a lot of ways, and I think it was the second last time before I finally left for good. It was on one of the breaks, and it was at my aunt's wedding, and my cousin was there, feeling very brokenhearted for puppy love, and first crush moved away and didn't get a chance. And I was like, I can understand that. I know what that's like. I had to move away from my first puppy love when I moved away from Newfoundland. And I was like, I know you'll have a lot better luck with love. And he's like, I wish you had luck with love too. And I'm like, I wish you guys just didn't hate me for the choices of who I'm with. And he's like, you were the only one who ever stood up to your dad. You're the only one who ever stood up to any bullies. And he's like, I watched you step up to every single bully. What's the difference with this one?
Yeah, and we come to those moments all the time.
So
It's
if you have
hard.
a bully out there, I just want you to know that, like, of course, take careful and choiceful actions, as it can go very south very badly. I know that myself, but
Talk to your
think of
spirit team,
yourself.
ask for
Talk to your
protections.
spirit. Yes, ask for ways out. They were always there for me. They were always on my side when there was
They're
stuff going down. They gave me dreams. They gave me signs. I just needed to be ready. And
exactly.
I will, and
The
you will
channel
be
is
ready.
always open. You have to give yourself permission to go to those lengths to ask them. You're gonna feel like you're crazy at first because you're talking to cards or talking out loud, but spirit is always there, ready and willing to help you.
Of
And
course.
when you open that door, it is the most phenomenal change in your life.
It's also like the remember that these divination tools, like I said with the crystals, are an extension of yourself. Like you don't have to even do that standing up and being your own pendulum either. Eventually, you will just get the intuitive nudges, and sometimes you'll hear it, sometimes you'll get a knowing, sometimes you'll get visions. But over time, like when I notice there's a lot of people who get flack online for doing tarot readings, and they're like, "Where's the cards? We need to see the cards." And it's like, well, I'm using the cards for you so you can see what I'm already picking up. You're I'm putting it down for you, but I've already picked it up from spirit. Like,
Ultimately,
and
the
sometimes,
goal is to be your own reader,
yeah.
to learn these things without seeking an outside source.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I was saying in my reading I did earlier. I think it might be dropped on YouTube at this point. Um,
I'll have to
that
look it up.
it's but it states the fact that you are your own. Like you are your own. Don't be dependent on anyone else. As a tarot reader, you don't. My job isn't to make you dependent on me. I don't want anyone codependent on me. That sounds
Oh
like
God,
a
no.
no. Even my doctor said at one point because I was so much anxiety and I just was felt like everyone else was my responsibility. And my doctor was like, "Have you ever tried not giving a fuck? Like for real, for a second? Could you ever just for a second try not giving a fuck? Because the only person you're supposed to be responsible for is you." And if everyone did that, then we wouldn't have as many problems today. And if everyone else helped each other when they were at the capacity to do so, and she looked at me and she's like, "Do you feel like you're at the capacity to do so?" Because if I don't think you are. It's like, because you are stressed to the max. Like, so remember, don't be doing divinations for other people. Don't feel people pleasing tendencies to do readings for people or called to rest more. If you're doing a channel or if you're doing it for yourself, even give yourself a break for a while. Don't keep going back to the tools over and over and over again, expecting a different answer right away. Because, yes, you can ask the divination tools for answers and everything, but it's up to you to take that strategic plan and put it into action. Because,
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it
yeah.
better myself, my friend.
Amazing. Um,
I think that
for
was
me,
another awesome episode.
absolutely. It was definitely a great episode. What about you, Vanna? You want to say goodbye
I
and then
I think I'm satisfied with that.
sweet. Sounds great. And thank you everyone for coming through. And we look forward to talking with you in the next episode about how to talk to your decks,
Yes,
which
that's gonna be a
I
fun
am
one.
we're most excited about that one. So
Honestly,
I am
yes.
really looking forward to sharing it with you all. Thank you for coming
All
through.
right. Brightest blessings.